Hi everyone, this is my very first YouTube video. Never did, always had that thought and passion inside and always wanted to try something in this field and kinda, finally finally feeling ready to start it, because always I had a issue, I thought, because of my language and accent and everything. It's like was like all those thoughts going through the head, like, oh, people will not understand and will look stupid and like all the usual stuff. But then I thought, okay, let's give it a go. So yeah, my story is like, I want to share more how books and book reading changed my life and my worldview and interaction with people and business and everything. I've been reading books now more than 20 years. I started when I was 17. Now I'm 39. Yeah, very old. But yeah, I came to England 8 years ago, knew 10 plus words in English, and yeah, so then I started to read books in English language just to pick up language, because before I was reading obviously books in my language, but then I started to read books in English just because the purpose to learn language. So I was underlining words which ones I didn't understood and sentences, and then I was translating after. So it took me ages to read one book, but that's how I was learning. I was picking up bit by bit. From beginning I understood probably like some 20% of everything what I was reading, but then I started to get a bit better, a little bit better, understood one word more, like sentences started to make more sense, not just like random words, and then, okay, what the hell it means. And yeah, so when I first came, I started with very, I can't say like bad job, but I started in tiling company. I was cutting tiles, and my language more was like a sign language, like couldn't understand like what people asking or telling me, like yes. And so I was reading big books just to learn language. And yeah, so other thing what I had like a little notepad where I was reading, where I was writing words which ones I thought I will need next day. So what I was doing, I was in the evening preparing for next day, kind of creating scenarios in my head, like, okay, what words I might need, what sentences, what people might ask me, what I think I will need to ask from other ones. And I was writing word in my language, translation, my language, translation, or even like sentences, how I need to ask something and all the stuff. And so in the next day when I needed, or someone was asking, or I didn't understood something, or I needed to ask, I was taking out my little notepad and I was like, okay, it means that, it means that, it means that. And yeah, it was like for good couple months I was like walking, and I was guy with a notepad, like little notepad I think is electric one. I had notebook. Still learning languages, still very far to go to learn, but at least now I can communicate. And so I was reading from side. Probably it looked like ridiculous, but it helped me. And then what I noticed, that I was less and less taking out my little notebook. So I was getting like better. And the better I get with the language, with my mindset, it started to improve my work, my relationships. I started from like very basic, low paying job and went like bit by bit higher, like because I learned how to talk with people, how communicate, how to ask questions, how to respect myself and my work, what I'm doing. And I was reading a lot about sorry, management stuff and people minds and mindset, and all that was little bit like brick by brick coming together. And so I was starting to get better, not only with my actual work, but like with the communication and people skills. I think that was one of the main factors. And yeah, so I was getting like more money, better positions, offers from other places, and now it will be, so yeah, and it will be 8 years now since I came and started with my sign language and cutting tiles, and now in at the moment when I'm recording this video, I'm working as a senior site manager and managing multi-million-dollar new development projects. And it's all in 8 years. I came like with a little backpack and 10 plus words I knew, and now I'm communicating with people who are very rich, very intelligent, going for dinners with them. I had friends around and relationships with people what I couldn't even imagine or dream like 10 years ago or when I came. And all that one is because of the books, because I'm not coming from very rich background or family, or my parents or all the siblings was working in very basic works, very basic jobs. So all the upgrowing was very basic, and there was not much mindset or self-development going around. And so I found that one in a books, and that's kind of helped mold me and my work and my thinking and everything around. And yeah, so it's been, and that's why I've always wanted to share that idea, and I'm sharing around with the people. Then you can pick up so much things from books and just educating yourself, even if it's like podcasts, audio books, reading books. And yeah, it's like there is so much information. Like depends, but like last week I listened to 3 audiobooks and read 1 book, and I'm watching usually like 2 to 3 podcasts a week. I'm replacing podcast watching with the movies. And so yeah, it's like every single day, every single week you can get a little bit better, more information, better information. And as well, it's not just to get information, but as well you need to apply that one. Just gathering information not gonna lead anywhere. It's like you need to try apply. If I'm reading book or I'm getting like some good points or those little nuggets, I'm trying to apply them. I'm thinking, okay, how I can implement them in my life, in my every day-to-day life, what I'm doing, where I'm working and all the other stuff. And it's kind of, and then you're building up, you're stacking like one on top of another, like, and then you're learning every day, you're reading something, you're getting a little bit better. Then you're again finding some little piece and putting together. And then was another interesting thing was a week ago or so, I met a woman, which one I know for quite long already, but we didn't met for a couple months. And so I met her, and she said, "Oh, I always thank you, you changed my life." She said, "Oh, I can't thank you enough." I said, "Okay," I didn't understand how I changed her life, but I said, "Happy." And then she said, no, half year ago, she came across one of the books that I was reading at the time, and it was Jim Rohn, Art of Exceptional Living, I think so it was. And she said it was mind-blowing for her because she never was reading books, or she never kind of thought about that books can be so helpful. And she said she saw the book what I was reading, she read that about, and she said it hooked her. So she took actual book and she started to read, and she said she not just read that book, but she started to implement like all the little things. She is running her own business, and she said she started to implement in her business and life and in relationships. And she said it was insane how her business changed, relationship with the people and everything. She said it's like mind-blowing. And since that day, it will be half year, a bit more, she's reading, she said, constantly now books. And so yeah, that's the thing what I'm passionate about. I like to read, I like to listen, and I'm giving as a gift books for people what I know, and people giving for me. And that's, yeah, because I like always educate myself and get better. And I think there is more people who would like that information who have the same passion about self-development, who are reading books. And yeah, that's why I thought, we'll give it a go for making videos. My apologies for my language if I'm saying some sentences wrong or words, because I'm still in learning process. So yeah, it's been just 8 years since I'm speaking in English, but I'm trying to improve every single day. And if nothing else from all this experience and making videos, then I hope I will get better in front of camera and people, and my language skills and the books that I'm reading. I want to share more tips with you guys and how to implement them on day-to-day basis. And yeah, and then I think I will become as well better as I'm conspecting more books and trying to give that information and knowledge further. So yeah, we'll see how it will go. But if you will not try, you will not know. And you always can have that thought, what if I would try, what if I would start to make those videos. So but yeah, that's like brief look into my life, my story. And yeah, we'll see you in the next video. Bye. Cool.